All right, this is gonna be my favorite video, and I'm gonna read this directly off this prompt I channeled earlier. Shit gets hard right before we level up. And that is the true statement we've all heard. But here's the second part. You have to escape your old self and create the new self. And that is what happened to me in 4 days in Phoenix. And if you guys haven't seen the video on astrophotography, I'm on my sun IC line, had this wild dream of a transformation, and I did that rapid transformation here. And I had to repeat the cycle a couple times because I've learned this lesson too in life, that whenever we learn cycles or whenever we have a new test, it takes us time and then it reappears. And the faster we can do it and knock it out, the quicker that we signal to the universe in a positive feedback loop that we have learned the lesson, we mastered the lesson, and it will appear a few times until you can knock it out as quick as possible. So the lesson that I really anchored in here was trust and asking for help, as I had this really tough time in entrepreneurship early on where I had to be self-reliant. It was a big part of my lesson, and that's a huge part of anybody's lesson. And I wanted help, but the universe was like, no, you don't get help right now. You have to endlessly lean into yourself and stand on your own 2 feet. Nobody's gonna save you. You have to save yourself. And once you go through that cycle, then people show up and you start collaborating. And then from there, you create a service or a bigger brand with other people, right? Like that's a very simple model that pretty much showcases collaboration, service through collaboration, right? But everybody in collaboration is independent and so forth. Anyways, too many details there maybe, but essentially I came here and I had to ask for help. I had to ask people for stuff I was uncomfortable for. I had to endlessly do the last thing that I wanted to do first, and I did it. And that day took a little bit of time to get the gears going because I kept having this reminder that that's what I needed to do. And when I listened to it, it all worked out. So then the next day, more lessons popped up and I'm like, oh God, come on. And as soon as I saw them, I was like, wait, this is exactly like yesterday. And I went through them as fast as possible. And I had a little bit of a delay, but if it comes back around again, I'm gonna be like, boom, hey, I need help, are you free? Boom, or hey, I need this, boom. I'm gonna send it right away. So I'm signaling to the universe or to God, I'm like, we gotta figure it out. What's up next? Please make it a nice lesson because we've been passing so many lessons. Like you get the gist of it. But the version of myself I had to kill was the one who had any resistance to asking for help, because where I'm at now is like, it's not the who, or it's not the how, it's the who. Like whenever I have a problem or something arises, I need to solve it quickly and I need to do it efficiently with the minimum amount of time, money, energy wasted. And that's what I had to do. Speaking of which, we're having a helicopter fly over. So I guess we're lifting off, or we're hovering over this idea, whatever it has to be. If there's a symbolism of a helicopter for somebody watching this, but I had to become somebody that I still had resistance to. And as soon as I did it, I swear to God, like all the dominoes started falling piece by piece, to the degree that I even had to ask somebody for some Venmo because my cash flow got fucked up again. And it wasn't even my fault. And it was the silliest thing ever, but it's how it all happened. And I had to ask for help, and I did. And instantly somebody Venmoed me, part of an invoice I'm collecting on Monday. And then a friend that I've been helping sent me money with no problem. And I'm like, yes, thank you so much. And it created the coolest aspect in me too, where it's like these friends I'd been helping, I'd been giving so much to them, they were able to help me, and that creates a deep sense of intimacy. And these people are important in my life. Everybody around me is like literally the most important people in my life, and it's a small circle. But it was cool how I always show up for them, and then I needed them to show up for me, and there wasn't any delay or any resistance. They're like, I don't know what they said, but I imagined it as like, dude, Chris has helped me so much. I can help this guy out here. He's so nice and caring and loving. But it's like in always being the giver, I had to be the receiver. And I just remembered too, a couple months ago, a couple weeks ago on the new moon, we're in the full moon right now, or it's past Leo, it's a day or two past, but it's like, I created the intention that I'm open to receive and I'm ready to receive. And I guess that's exactly what I had to do here, was receive. Wow. I just got a ton of clarity on that. And you guys hear my voice too. Whenever I get kind of like, I feel like I'm going to tear up a little bit, that's a really big download in me. So whoever needs to see this video too, I didn't think of pivoting into this, but it's like, maybe you need to learn to receive, or, that's the version of myself that I had to kill, was the one who was always giving and wasn't able to receive as well. And let me tell you, here in Phoenix, Arizona, I've had to receive a lot, and I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel at all guilty or any shame. I feel grateful. I feel, a stronger connection to the people who helped me. I even feel a stronger connection to the people watching this video, and being able to get that clarity on this video with you and hopefully pour some magic into your life. And I feel called to ask you too, like, are you somebody who endlessly gives? If you watch my content, you probably are. And I'd ask you to, circle back to yourself and ask, like, when was the last time you received? When was the last time you had to ask somebody for help? When was the last time you stopped doing everything? Ooh, this is deep. When was the last time you stopped doing everything on your own and started asking those around you for help and allowing them to provide for you, because you probably honestly do everything for yourself and everybody else, and the last thing you do is receive. But man, I'm gonna tell you, after this video, I am in a receiving state. I am wide the fuck open to say, who wants to help me? I need a ton of help right now, but I really don't need a ton of help, but there's a ton of things I'm working on that I will need help on, from, creating my open source website. I don't know how to create an open source website. It's an idea that came in. I don't know how to run this model of business that I'm launching. It came in as an intuitive download, and we're figuring it out as we build, and that's what I've had to lean into people and be like, for instance, never in my life have I created a 12-person container with a 10K buy-in and splitting profits between 33% of the founder, 33% of me, and 33% of the team on each sprint or rollout that helps contribute to the editing, the build out, and all that stuff, right? Like, I've never done any of this. And I trust that it's going to work out. And there's going to be a lot of lessons. There's going to be a lot of learning, but I'm doing it with, my 12 friends that see me and they're as weird as me, and we're all connected, and we all have different skills and overlaps, and I know we're going to make a shit ton of money. And it's even inspired stuff like this, where I started an online community as like a feeder for that. And it's just cool, and like self-publishing my books and all this stuff. But it's just cool to step out of the one who's always providing for others and stepping into the receiving state. And I'm seeing a lady walk by, so I was like, fully leaning into the feminine, because I have been in a masculine state to the degree that I was helping somebody build a website, and it's very feminine. To the colors are pink and rose, and I had to pass it off to somebody on my team, Oscar, who's specializes in graphic design and website. But it's time to pass it off to him. But I was like, I want to finish this. But I passed it off to Oscar, and couldn't sit in on the call last night with him and Jody. And then Oscar had it handled. He was killing it, and he was also in more of a feminine state, which really helped pull it all together. And I had to ask for help, and I felt that when I got on the call. I was like, I hopped on the call and I had to jump off immediately to handle some bank issues, and got back on and got back off. And I was like, and they're watching me and they're cracking up because they know me, and they're like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh, just some lessons and blessings and learning a core lesson here, and not quite sure what it is. But I'd tell them today, I'd be like, man, thank you so much for helping me receive from you all, and holding space while I learned to receive. And I think that's what friends are for, like walking us through our toughest lessons and those last little things that we need to break, because when it's time to grow, you're going to want to still be that old version of yourself. But Rich McCoy gave me this image, and I'm seeing a mountain, so I'm going to share this with you. It's like, you're on a mountain this big, and when you walk up it, it's hard, right? When you start that mountain, it's hard. When you get to the top, you're like, fuck yeah, I conquered it, right? And then you start walking down and it's easy. But then this bigger mountain appears, and you try to use the skills that you learned on this first mountain, on that second mountain, and it's like instantly you're like, oh crap, those skills don't work. So you have to essentially let go of that version of yourself that scaled the first mountain, and now you're on the second mountain, and you're like, all right, who do I need to meet? What do I need to learn? How am I going to implement it? And what are those things that are going to get us up this mountain? And as soon as you do that and lean into the uncomfortable and start learning new stuff, asking for help, leaning into others, maybe receiving from others if that's new to you, you're going to be amazed at what all happens. And as soon as you make that one move that you don't want to do, and you kill that version of yourself that wouldn't let you do it, and you create the new self, you create the new reality. And in a sense, I really like that. If you guys made it to this part, it's sick. It's like, I'm creating a new reality right now. I'm going to speak this into existence with you. And if you're in this part of your life too, watching it, that's kind of how these videos happen, is like, do this with me. It's like, I created the newest version of myself. Somebody who gives and receives in balance. He is somebody who openly asks for help from others when he needs it. He's somebody who trusts that everything's going to happen at the perfect moment and doesn't need to know everything, but can lean into his intuition and his gifts if they're available. And if they're not, he's just going to trust, because he knows he's supported. He knows he's here doing the greatest life of any of his, to what I know. This is my 13th lifetime. And all these things are perfectly happening for me to grow and better myself. And if I see them as challenges and angles or opportunities of growth, they're endlessly going to lead me to the next greatest version of myself, which I'm so excited to meet and I'm so excited to see and curious. I love curiosity. I'm so curious as to what reality I opened up through this transformative process. Boom. I think that's a really good spot to end this video. So, actionable steps here. Let's do those first. I really like giving these to you. So, actionable step here is simply, if you're in a major growth phase, ask yourself what version of yourself needs to die and what transformation needs to happen in order to create that next version of yourself. Because as soon as you kill that old version of yourself and you create the new one, you create the new reality. And then also ask yourself, what is that reality? What person do you need to be in that reality if you don't know what changes you need to make? What does that reality consist of? Who do you have to be? Who do you have to embody? And how do you have to show up? Who's around you? What does it look like? Create a little bit, but be open to it too. And then walk through the process of killing that old version of yourself and stepping into the newest version of yourself so you can open up that new reality and create magic in your life and everybody else's that's around you. Peace out. Make sure, man, where's the second peace out? Third one's the charm. Make sure you guys, if you have questions, drop in the community. If you want to book a one-on-one with me, the calendar link is in the community. It is $100 for 1 hour. That is my cheapest rate. And make sure you guys check out the books. The books in the community, 1111, are dope. I'm uploading as many as possible. And I'll even create a video on how I'm doing that too. I think you guys deserve that. But if you got questions, drop them. I love engagement. I love creating more clarity and sharing my knowledge and wisdom as it's always flowing through me. And I want to share it with you. That's why you're here. So let's hold up that agreement. I will receive some from you too if you want to give me some knowledge and wisdom as well. So thank you guys so much. Peace out. And I'll catch you. There's that peace out. Third one. I'll catch you on the next video.